Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is June 11th, 2024 and the Hansi Flick era has officially begun. Also, Barcelona have made two new signings and finally the club have done some in-house cleaning and have gotten rid of several members of the backroom staff. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and before we begin with the news, just a quick reminder to make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. All of this helps this channel continue to grow. Also, if you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure you hit the kickback. And if you are looking to place any sports bets, make sure you head to Bet Us. Both links for kickback and Bet Us are down below in the description. Now, I begin with the news that the Hansi Flick era has officially begun, as the German coach attended his first day of work at the Barcelona offices, and he did that by meeting with Deco in order to discuss the makeup of the team. Now, FC Barcelona posted this picture on their social media outlets showing Hansi Flick discussing things with Deco. It's reported that the meeting lasted around 2 to 3 hours, and even though we don't know exactly what the meeting was about, as I reported in yesterday's video, it was expected that Flick and Deco were going to meet to discuss the composition of the team, to see which players will be staying, which players will be offloaded, which players from the academy will be promoted, and of course, which player can Barcelona sign, because Deco did have a lot of players on the table that he wanted to discuss on Flick. And it's expected that Flick gave him his input in order to see who will Barcelona end up signing during this summer transfer market. Now, Hansi Flick will remain in Barcelona for another 2 to 3 days, putting in work. And after that, he is leaving because he wants to go and watch several Euros matches in order to most likely, of course, track Barcelona's players' progress. And who knows, maybe he'll be watching some players that he would like the club to sign. Now, speaking of Hansi Flick, the German coach officially has two new members of his staff, as Barcelona have secured two new conditioning coaches. Now, as we know, the conditioning at the club was a big problem under Xavi Hernandez. Deco had visited the practices and did not like what he saw as far as conditioning. Also, the players had complained about conditioning multiple times to the board of directors. And finally, we found out that many of the players had in fact hired their own conditioning coaches because they weren't getting enough conditioning during practice. So once practice was over, the players would then go and meet with their own conditioning coaches in order to improve their conditioning. And Joan Laporta had also noticed the lack of conditioning because in many matches the team would start out strong, but then around the 60th minute they would start to lose gas. So this was definitely a prevalent problem that Laporta and Deco had noticed. And finally came Deco when he submitted that report where he spent 3 months studying the team and presented his report to Laporta and Deco. In that report, Flick highlighted that conditioning was a big weakness of the team, and as such, Barcelona have started working by hiring new conditioning coaches, and Barcelona have hired two new conditioning coaches. The first one being this guy that you see on your screen, which is Pepe Conde from Sevilla. Now, Pepe Conde had in fact worked in the past at Sevilla with Lopetegui. He had also worked at Real Madrid with Lopetegui and with the Spanish national squad during the 2018 World Cup. And in fact, Lopetegui was looking to sign him for West Ham, but it seems that Barcelona has swooped in and signed Pepe Conde in order to incorporate him into Hansi Flick's staff. And in case you do want to know more about Pepe Conde's resume, he has a pretty extensive resume. I pulled this off a transfer market, but as you can see, he has worked with many clubs, like I said, including Sevilla, Real Madrid, the Spanish national team, and many other clubs. So definitely a guy with lots of experience at the highest level, and a guy who comes with lots of experience in order to improve the conditioning of the team. Now, the second signing that Barcelona have made is this guy that you see on your screen, which is Rafa Maldonado, who Barcelona have signed from Real Sociedad. He arrived in Real Sociedad in 2021. He is a specialist in injury prevention, adaptation, and rehabilitation, and his specialty is individual plans. So he focuses more on individual players. He works individually with each players, where, you know, as opposed to conditioning coaches who work more on a team level and try to improve the entire team's conditioning, this guy is a specialist where he works with individual players. Now, you might ask, what has happened with Julio Toes? Well, Julio Toes is still at the club. Of course, he's the first person that Barcelona hired for the conditioning. He's someone who's very highly regarded in the conditioning world. He invented a new method for conditioning of players that he has patented himself. Of course, Barcelona hired him, and he will be the person in charge of all the conditioning coaches. So he's going to be the main guy, and Rafa Maldonado and Pepe Conde will work under him. Rafa Maldonado and Pepe Conde will work directly with Hansi Flick as part of his staff, where Julio Toes will be the guy in charge of everything. And in fact, it's being reported that these two new hires, Pepe Conde and Rafa Maldonado, were actually personal recommendations of Julio Toes. He's the one who recommended it to the club, and you can see why, because both of them have extensive and very impressive resumes. Now, Barcelona are finalizing the last few details of the contract of the two new hires, who will be again incorporating themselves to Hansi Flick's staff. Now, that's not all, because Barcelona, like I said, are really focused on the team's conditioning this year. Of course, alongside with Julio Toes, Barcelona had also hired Raúl Martinez, who's going to be in charge of all the physiotherapists at FC Barcelona. He's someone who worked with the Spanish national team when they won both and the 2010 World Cup. So he's a World Cup winning physiotherapist. He's going to be in charge of all the physiotherapists at Barcelona. And while his first act as head of physiotherapists was to fire two of Barcelona's physiotherapists, the first one being Carlos Nogueira and the second being Jaume Munil. And there's other two physiotherapists who have also left. These two were not fired. They decided to leave on their own accord. And these two are Isaac Serrano and Edu Martinez, who were initially part of Xavi Hernandez's staff. Barcelona wanted to keep both of them, but it looks like they have decided to leave on their own. So that's 4 physiotherapists that Barcelona have lost. And with that, there is no longer any staff from Xavi Hernandez that have left at the club, which again, it's part of this whole operation to revolutionize and change how conditioning is being conducted at FC Barcelona. Anyways, that is all the news for this video. We'll be uploading another video right after this one, so make sure you stay tuned to the channel. As always, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. I will see you in the next video, and as always, Visca Barça.